Hey, happy Q&A Monday, and happy Thanksgiving to those of you that are celebrating this past weekend. I can see that there's a light reflecting off of my magnifying glasses. Let me see if I can move that out of our scope a little bit. So thank you for joining me today. Today is session 3 of a Q&A session that I've been doing on light therapies. Week 1 was more related to weight loss and toning. The second week, last week's session was more related to skin surface conditions. Today, we are talking about pain management, chronic pain. Um, Interesting stat, as I always do, pain is the number one reason that a physician is consulted in the United States. And 1 out of 3 Americans is affected by chronic pain every year. So it's the number one reason people miss school, don't go to work, and a lot of it is due to musculoskeletal pain. Uh, I was looking online, and I have some science to share with you, as I always do. Light therapy has a lot of terms in the scientific world: low level laser therapy, photobiolation. Like there's a bazillion terms. So when you're looking, I'm going to have Jen behind the scenes drop a link. And the title is the use of low level laser therapy for musculoskeletal pain. But an interesting comment in there, and this is where I got today's stats, was current therapies consist of, non-steroidal or anti-inflammatory drugs, steroid injections, opiate pain meds, and even surgery. And each of those carry their own risks. Maybe you're dealing with other things. And what this study focused on the one line I really like to hear was it's what is needed for effective treatments for pain, which have been acceptably low risk profiles. So there's lots of ways. In layman's term, what that kind of means is, there's lots of ways you could be managing and treating yourself with less invasive options, and light therapy is one of those very big no-brainers in my opinion. This isn't something new and wizardry. It's been out for a number of years in the scientific world, but biologically, as I referred to in our past sessions, what light therapy is within the larger spectrum of our sun. There are different wavelengths, and different wavelengths have different biological health benefits on our body. There's a reason we want to be in the sun, but it's those nasty UV rays. There are harmful wavelengths within the spectrum of the sun's light, and a lot of the light therapies that you may think may carry some risk. None of Life Pro's light therapies carry that UV spectrum, so it's easy to use these tools not only for what we're talking about today, pain therapy, but other, whether it's aesthetics, or whether you're dealing with a chronic condition, trying to heal up an open wound, deal with some acne or some wrinkles. There's a lot of ways that you can benefit with light therapy. Today was hard. I on each of these sessions, I've been recommending my top 3 picks, and I'll get to those shortly with a little bit of a reason as to why. But there's one of the things for those of you, and if you are a Life Pro member and you use light therapy now for pain management, I want to have a bit more of a Q&A at the end. Perhaps you have questions. Perhaps you've been considering light therapy for use at home. Do-it-yourself therapies are becoming popular, I think, for a couple of reasons. The last couple of years, we've had to find inventive ways to do more of our self-care at home, at work, wherever that may be. And there's a rising cost in many factors of our lives today. So, if you can invest in a technology for close to the price of a treatment, that you're going to have these done commercially, not only can you use light therapies to treat a current condition, but from a maintenance and an ongoing piece, if you stub your toe and it hurts, you might do it again in a couple of weeks. So, some of you, as I said, are dealing with chronic issues, but a lot of my athletes, a lot of my guys that just work hard, and gals working physically hard, we have aches and pains. And so whether you're dealing with a chronic condition, or it's an intermittent thing that you're dealing with, maybe it's muscle soreness after the gym, the way that these light therapies manage pain is universal, regardless of where the pain is coming from. What I want to get a little bit more intimate about today is, different types of devices are going to be better at suiting certain types of pain. So when you're kind of looking at these technologies and trying to ascertain what might be best for your needs, you kind of got to consider what the immediate need is. Are you dealing with a lesion on your forearm, or is it head to toe body pain from something like MS or fibromyalgia? So, in theory, any red light tool that you're using now could be used for any of the benefits that have been advertised, but some of the tools are better suited for the purpose you're trying to use it. So last week when we talked about skin conditions, just an example I wanted to give you with the VisiCure mask, this is obviously designed to be treating the face, and many of you looking for wrinkles or to treat rosacea or even acne, this is something that you're probably going to use regularly, to certainly get the symptoms under control initially, but as a maintenance piece going forward. So something like this is ideal for treating the face, neck, and the head. May not be as suitable for treating the thighs or the glutes if you're dealing with leg pain. So, I know a lot of the questions that Life Pro's awesome folks on social media and their behind the scenes support get are, can I use my device for blah? Can I use my device for blah? In theory, yes, any of your red lights can be used to treat and obtain the benefits that you're looking at. But if you're looking at using it for specific ongoing use, you might want to look at something that's better suited for the type of treatment that you're going to have. And that may mean, yes, that you might end up having a couple of devices. And I know a few people do. So with that in mind, if you're using more than one type of light therapy device, 9 times out of 10, they can be used together. So if you've got an infrared sauna, the BioRemedy is an example. I demonstrated that in the toning session the first week. Your head's out of the lay down sauna wrap is what it's described as. So you could use your VisiCure on your face while you're in the sauna. I'm all about ramping up results and combining technologies to maximize your personal effects. For my clinicians and my therapists out there, you can get more optimal outcomes by ramping up and playing these technologies off each other, making the body more receptive to other treatments that you may be administering. So I'm going to take a step back away from the camera. If you're just joining me or you're watching this later and you're like, I didn't know about this, I wish I had known, I would have followed so I could have asked Deb my questions. Life Pro is very good about posting their events up in advance. So if there's something that's of interest to you, say that you're going or you're interested, interact with the event in some fashion just to make sure that you get the notifications. So today, again, we're going to talk specifically more about pain management, how to use, and a few of my suggestions for your use and your self-care, doing it yourself at home. And I'll ask you if you do have questions or if you want to share some of the successes that you've had. Please leave those. I'm going to come back to when I can read this screen again. I'm going to step a little bit further back on my already pre-positioned chair. I've got a few different therapies, and before I talk into which one's going to be best for your specific needs, the first thing you want to think about when you're managing using light therapy to manage pain conditions is sensitivity. Sensitivity, like bad, don't touch me, don't breathe on me kind of pain is going to help you understand very quickly what type of devices might be more tolerable for your situation. If it's an internal pain, if it's muscle pain, if it's okay to touch the skin surface, some of the other technologies may be more effective or a better choice. Again, sensitivity is something to keep in mind. So if the sensitivity or pain is high, I recommend looking at something more hands-free. So the first thing I want to talk about, and I mentioned this one last week, is the InfraGlow. I'm going to bring the box up so you can see. The InfraGlow is a light therapy lamp, and it's got some pretty awesome diodes. I've got it already out of the box here, so I wasn't making a mess on camera. We've done a number of product info sessions on all of these devices, so if you want to get into a little bit more specific, I'm going to have Jen drop links to each of the products if you want to read a little bit further. And even though they're all light therapies, some of them are going to be better suited to treat certain things than other tools, depending on what your issue is. So this is what I always refer to this as substantial. It's metal. It's got some large diodes situated here, but on the back end of it, you can see there's a clip. and it's got a little clip cord. So this is going to be good for everyday use at home. But for those of you that are maybe stuck in a situation where you're not at home, you're away for hours during the day, you're traveling, it gives you the ability to do a large area, hands-free treatment really wherever you are. So if you're dealing with lots of sensitivity, don't touch me. You know, I bruise easily. There's many of you in my groups that deal with that severe sensitivity. Something that is hands-free, that's casting the light upon your skin, versus, you know, maybe a wrap or something where it's on the skin surface, where the treatment itself is very tolerable, but it's just some of my clients literally can't wear long sleeves for periods of long time because it's uncomfortable or it's irritable. So with I'm going to plug this one in. Now, if you are casting this anywhere that you're going to see it in the area of your eyes, with visible light therapy, there's a difference. Visible light therapy versus the near infrared spectrum you do not see. But anything where you can see a color, if you're going to be tempted to take a look at the light, or you're treating somewhere within the area of the eyes, with the exception of the Visicure, this is the only product you do not have to wear. You can apply to your face and not wear eyewear. That's why it's kind of perfect for the face treatments. But you're going to need some protective eyewear. So whether you're administering the treatment to someone else, whether you're treating yourself, if this is going to be, you know, something you could potentially be looking at the diodes, you want to wear protective eyewear. So I'm going to turn this one on. And I just want to give you an example. Okay, so for this one, maybe you're dealing with neuropathy. Maybe it's foot neuropathy pain. You could set this on the floor and cast it on your feet. Perhaps you're dealing with MS and fibro. I mentioned that earlier on. You know, when you're wanting to treat a larger surface area, this and the BioHeal panel are a good choice, because you don't physically have to be touching the device. You can set it and forget it. You know, a lot of my clients dealing with arthritis, or you just fatigue easily. It might be hard to hang on to something and treat yourself versus using a device of this nature, where you can set it perhaps beside you while you're treating your recliner. You know, maybe you're dealing with some shingles pain, you know, some internal lesions. There's all kinds of reasons you may want to treat a larger area. And with a device like this, you're getting the infrared and you're getting the red light. So you're getting the skin surface, if that's part of the equation, and you're also penetrating deeper below the skin surface. And how does this relieve pain? We've talked about this in many sessions in the past. Light therapy, it is believed to excite the mitochondria within our cells. The mitochondria is the power plant, or the powerhouse of your cell, and it's going to create, it absorbs and creates more energy, making your cells more efficient at performing their job or their task, whatever that may be. Related to today's term, is it's reducing pain. So this is a good choice, like I say, as is the BioHeal panel. If you're looking at treating a larger body area, you're sensitive to touch and feel, and you just kind of want to set it and forget it, those would be two really good options to start with. They're also a really good choice if you are a practitioner and you're incorporating, or want to try incorporating, red light therapy into your practice without breaking the bank. You know, for less than the cost of your massage table. You could have 3 or 4 of these devices. And what's nice for you about the hands-free ones is you can continue your work, administer, really where you can position this one with the clip. You know, perhaps it's off the edge of a table or a shelf, or you're just maybe propping it up on a stool. It gives you a little bit more versatility in the area that you're trying to target without you physically having to hang on and administer it. So I love my Infraglow. So choice number 2 that I want to move into is more of an intense treatment. Some of Life Pro's light therapy products, 2 of them, the LumiCure line. So the LumiCure, as well as the BioCare, which I talked about last week as well. This one is ideal. You know, you need relief right now. You don't have a whole lot of time to sit and administer a treatment, and it's a knuckle, it's a toe, it's an elbow joint. It's a chronic condition that's deterring you. Hello, Facebook user, howdy. for performing a task or getting on with your day. And the LumaCure, there's a couple of different ones. The BioHeal is similar, but they're referred to as a torch for a reason. The heat is much more intense on this type of a device, and it is designed for much shorter treatment durations. So you're at your desk, you got a big presentation, your knuckles flaring up, you've done about 50,000 clicks on that mouse, and you just need to get that knuckle some relief. Very, very perfect for a small, very targeted area to get quick and fast relief. You can use this multiple times throughout the day. Perhaps it's more the wrist. Maybe you've got some carpal tunnel and it's a little bit of a bigger area. You can apply this directly on the skin surface, or up to an inch or so. You see how the closer I get, the smaller the area, the more I pull it away, the larger the treatment area. As the diode on this device is very intense, both in heat and brightness, I do recommend wearing protective eyewear if there's a chance you're going to be tempted and want to take a look at it. A lot of the questions I get about protective eyewear, you're not supposed to look at it, but we're kind of like bugs on a windshield sometimes. It's hard not to. So if you're going to be tempted, or you are treating somewhere close to the face and you may be exposing your eyes, please wear protective eyewear, even your own sunglasses. But this one is great for a couple of different reasons. You can use this on the go. You can take it with you. It packs easily in the purse, if that's what you want to do. For my guys that don't carry purses, they carry gym bags. But they all come with a nice carrying case. The battery life on this is going to be about 3 hours. It comes with 2. You pre-charge those up, so there's no power plugging into the wall required like the Infraglow. This one is going to be kind of dual purpose. This could be for both skin surface. Oh, hang on, I'm pressing the buttons too many times here, and I've got it going. This one could be hands-on. So again, for those of you that don't have sensitivity on the skin surface, you can put this directly on the skin surface. But if you are sensitive, this one isn't terribly encumbersome to hold on to. It's not overly heavy. For a lot of my gals or guys dealing with chronic hand or grip strength issues, this is manageable. You can almost even just sort of rest it. But again, make sure you're protecting the eyes. But this one can be applied directly or can be slightly off if that's what you are requiring for your needs. Hang on, I keep bumping the button. Okay. So this is an ideal choice, again, to take with you on the go. But the biggest difference between the LumaCure line and any of the other light therapies is the intensity, designed for short treatment periods. Pain is probably the main reason that you should consider the LumaCure line and the BioCare because they are designed to have a shorter treatment period, 5 minutes. There's a reason that's the preset timer. I'm going to have people say, well, I have the LumaCure. Can I use it for weight loss? I mean, in theory, yes, you could, but it's going to take you a long time to treat. Weight loss tends to be a larger surface area. And I do recommend, if weight loss or toning is the goal, deep muscle pain, sometimes a longer treatment period, giving those muscles also time to relax, giving you mentally time to chill is a better product to consider. So that is the LumaCure. Again, short, intense treatments, awesome for joint pain, neck pain. Those chronic things, sometimes chronic pain isn't due to a medical condition. Maybe it's a workplace thing. You're making $200,000 a year doing what you're doing. You don't want to leave that, but there's workplace hazards, even just in pressing a mouse. Maybe you're in an occupational job where you're driving a big truck or industrial equipment where you get, back aches and back pain and you need relief right now. Something like this can be, kept in your vehicle if you travel. You know where the spot is. You can target and hit it and help yourself manage those symptoms as they surface throughout the course of the day. So this is a great complement to all the other light therapies, but it is a different treatment time duration, and it is, again, designed for smaller, targeted, intense treatments. Okay, me and all my tools here. The last one I want to feature, and again, I was sitting there this morning going, well, this is awesome, that's awesome. I got to talk about both of them. So even though I said I always have top 3 picks, 2 are kind of variations on a theme. The Aliva series. Okay, so the Aliva Red Belt I talked about in session 1. I don't want to ramble on about that. You can, I'll go back in and I'll link session 1 and session 2 in case you haven't seen those. Today I'm going to talk about the Aliva glove. Okay, and what this one screams is simplicity. All I could think about when I got this one, sorry, I just put lotion on my hands before the session, so now everything's all slippery. Okay. Like any Life Pro product, make sure that you register for your lifetime warranty within 7 days. Okay. Of course, you get the brilliant explainer, but this is it. It's cute. It weighs nothing. There's a built-in battery pack that you simply charge with your own USB, or if not, of course, Life Pro has included a plug. All I could think about when I opened this was I have the hand massager. I love the Legra. But again, a lot of my clients have sensitivity issues. Don't touch me, don't squeeze me. Many of them bruise easily. For those of you that are dealing with chronic hand issues, when you can't use your hands, it really screws with your day. So this is something that's very light. It's not cumbersome. It's going to fit most hand sizes. I have smaller fingers, but my fingertips are here and my wrist is still in. My husband had it on this morning. You can move your hand around. It's not like a glove where your fingers are separated, but this is going to be so awesome. Even if you're a little sensitive to touch, again, it's very light. It's not uncomfortable to have on the skin surface like a hard metal or plastic tool. It's kind of a neoprene, like wetsuit type material, but it's going to help you get through your day. It's going to help you start your day. It's going to help you end your day. So this is a really cool tool. Do one hand, then make sure that you do the other. You can use something like this more often to get the initial symptoms if you are dealing with a lot of chronic pain. This is infrared therapy, so you don't need glasses. You're not going to need any of that additional. This is simply going to penetrate deep into those joint tissues, muscle, the wrist, wherever your issue is. If you're dealing with issues in the joints due to arthritis or whatever inflammation might be presenting itself, you tend to have compensation issues in other areas. So, for example, maybe you've got really bad carpal tunnel in the wrist. Well, the muscles and how you use them tend to change and compensate, so that it's not putting as much stress on the wrist, and you might develop other issues. So if you're dealing with whether it's the fingers, the hand itself, or the wrist, everything's kind of enclosed here and you're going to get a lot of relief. This is designed to be a longer treatment. It's not a short, intense one like the LumaCure. I want you to just chill, relax, sit on your recliner. You can put this on your lap. You can put it on the kitchen table. Very, very easy to use, kind of whenever you need. And like I say, it's light enough that you can just charge it up and take it with you if you're stuck in an office or a work situation, you spend a lot of time driving. I think you're going to find this is a very simple solution to manage pain. It was out of stock last time I checked. Please don't be impatient if there's an out of stock situation. That just means it's really awesome and it's working and everybody wants it. But certainly as these things come back in stock, it's something that I would consider. It may be back in stock but Black Friday has been crazy busy. But this is something for those of you that are dealing with hand issues, whatever it is, from a chronic pain management, swelling, inflammation. This is going to be a simple, very affordable tool to manage that. The other one I kind of thought I should just bring up again is the belt. I talked about back issue a little bit because back issues are such a big category. Men, women, young, old, don't really matter. My daughter tweaked her back and her neck flipping on the trampoline in her snowsuit and snow boots this weekend. Proud moment, but at the same time. So that, if you like this series, the kind of set it and forget it, the difference between these two, this is infrared only. This incorporates infrared and some of the light therapies as well. So a few more options in the belt. This one's going to be a longer treatment as well. And it's going to be great. Just, you could use it seated at the desk. To start your day, to loosen things up, to wind your day, to manage what's built up throughout the course of the day. This is going to be sort of in the middle between what I would call large area and more of a targeted treatment. So anything in the Aliva series, the neoprene's comfy. I don't find it as invasive when I'm dealing with skin conditions. So the big ones I kind of mentioned today was the InfraGlow and the BioHeal panel as well, especially for those of you that are dealing with don't touch me. You've got chronic, very sensitive issues on the skin surface. You will find that improve And over time, how often should you use these therapies? You're going to find yourself using them more often, especially for pain, kind of maybe to kickstart and bring those pain levels down. But what you're going to find with consistent use, that's really the key to any of this. There's never going to be an exact perfect amount of time or device for every single person and situation. So you do need to experiment to a degree, but you can't overdo it with these therapies. But I do want to caution you that you probably don't need to be spending as much time treating yourself after about a month or two as when you initially started. Your body, starts improving, healing. That's really, in a simplistic term, what red light does. It improves the healing, expedites the healing, whether the healing is from a medical condition or an injury or just muscle soreness from the gym. It's going to improve that situation. And what you'll find is once your body's used to this technology, you may not, when you are treating yourself, you may not need to do it for as long. So, for that back pain, if you have a setback and you got to get back into treatment mode and you were using 30 minutes initially, you might find 15 to 20 minutes is going to be, even 10 might be all that you need, because your body knows, it's receptive, it's to a degree become accustomed to the technology. So that's the end of my ramble as far as product demo. Yes, you can use these in combination. Experiment with whatever kind of recipe works best for you, but use them often, use them consistently for best results in the long run. The last point I'll leave you with, if you are using light therapy to manage pain, don't stop just when the pain stops. There's a lot of other benefits you're getting from this, from rejuvenation to better mobility, better improvement of blood flow and lymphatic movement. So there's other benefits that sometimes you don't really realize until you start using them. And then when you stop using them, you realize, oh man, it must have been that light therapy, because I'm feeling kind of tired and achy. Sometimes you don't realize till you take a break what it's done for you. So even though your chronic issue may have improved dramatically, and it will, how quickly is going to vary for everybody, but keep using them as a maintenance piece so that you don't have those flare-ups and those setbacks, inhibiting your day. So that's the end of my lecture. I'm going to put my paper there. I'm going to scooch back down to my closer seat so that my old eyes can see you. No, I was being a little blinded by my lighting today. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to see who's here, whether you have questions or you just want to talk about you and how awesome your light therapies are. My gal behind the scenes, Jen, has dropped some science as well. There's lots of studies. If you want to look into, what's good for what, anytime, go on to Google and just search light therapy for fibromyalgia, light therapy for acne, light therapy for wrinkles, and forget about the specifics and at the end of the day, I think what you're going to see is so much positive and so non-existent negative. It's just a brush stroke that this is technology that our body naturally understands. It is good for us, and sometimes it's just a matter of making sure that the device you're using to treat your concerns or goals is best suited. So some of these products are very different in how they're applied and how they operate, but so are your conditions, and so is the breakfast that you have. We're all very different and unique from each other, and Life Pro has a wide range of tools to help further customize and target what's going to best fit your needs. So experiment with what you have, but use it consistently. So thank you for dropping that study. Some of the quotes I started with early in the session were from that study. My recommended products again were the Infraglow lamp. The BioHeal is a little bit more substantial, but I love the adaptability and the portability of the lamp. Hello, Facebook user, telling me that I love my LumaCure. I'm glad that you have one. You know what I'm talking about. Marcy is here from Arkansas. Hello. You can relate, the cold set in today in Canada, girl. And one thing I love about all of my light therapies is the warmth. I'm very much a more frequent seasonal user in the winter. So I'm sitting here in my tank top with goosebumps, thinking, oh, I can't wait to go turn that lamp on and go do some computer work. It's not off. Yes, Dana, I caught that once I put it back down on the ground. Thank you. If you have a few things, Now, just the belt, it says it has to be 2 hours apart. Is that the same as the area, or could I do my stomach here? You can treat multiple areas, certainly in the course of the same day. What I would recommend, and every product's going to be a little bit different, but if you want to treat different, you don't want to do it all day, every day, and wear out your device. Okay, so you've got diodes in there with really long life flights, but you don't want to use it back to back to back to back. I would suggest, if you're a new user, yes, we've got to give a baseline. Everyone's going to be a little bit different, but if we're giving the same recommendations, whether you have vast improvements or maybe you have a setback, it helps me troubleshoot a little bit more if everybody's kind of in the same starting point. So yes, I do recommend, give it a couple hours between treatments and see, you can always treat more later. If you've overdone it, it's really, you really can't overdo it. But if you are dealing with a chronic issue, you got lots of circulation going, maybe you're not so good with heat, maybe you're sensitive due to medications. So give your body some time to see if there are any effects. If you are taking medications that make you more sensitive to light therapies, that's something that you need to consider in a discussion that you should have. And if you're sensitive to light therapies due to medical conditions, epilepsy is a question that comes up a lot. Stay away from pulse mode. There is no concern. There's a different trigger for epilepsy, and it's a frequency thing, and I'm not going to bore you with my rambling on that, but LifePro has been proactive, and the pulse frequency is not been shown. It's 10 hertz. It's not shown to stimulate epileptic seizures, but you shouldn't be looking at the light regardless. So if this is something that you're prone to and you're sensitive and you do have epileptic tendencies, you should absolutely be wearing protective eyewear, but you should have a discussion with your care provider or therapist just to ensure, because I don't know what other therapies you're currently administering and what the combined effects may be. So just to be cautious. I've never had any ill effects due to light therapy, other than, sometimes people overdo it and it depletes your energy. You can overdo anything to a degree. If you're dealing with fatigue or chronic lethargia, those type of things, be sure to just use it in moderation and see how your body is doing on it. But I've never had any real ill effects. I can't wait for the new sauna. I'm excited about that as well. I can't tell you what I already have, and I'm already testing and playing, but I think you guys are going to be pretty excited here. Infrared saunas are a form of light therapy. They're great if you're looking, again, large surface treatment. You want to do more of a total body effect. I did talk saunas big time in my weight loss session, if you want to check those out a little bit further. The Aliva glove so many of you have chronic hand issues, which stop you from doing other things, including therapies. So we want to, if you're having issues, grip strength, pain, inflammation, and swelling of the hands, you're going to love the Aliva glove. It's just kind of a make sense tool for targeting that specific area of the body. Dana is replying to Brenda. I love me too. Marcia says, thanks. Well, this is great. I don't know, again, if you have followed me we've done lots of sessions on light therapies. Why? Because there's so many amazing light therapy tools, and there's so many ways you can benefit. You all have your own questions that drive you. For those of you that are joining after the recorded session, if you do have questions, please just tag me and I'll do my best to answer those. And today was a new time, so we're going to keep going with 1:30 for now. If there is a better time, or there's times you guys would prefer to hear me ramble, let me know. All of us trainers here, between myself, Amber, Roseanne, and the LifePro team, have different ways of supporting you, different techniques, different personalities. So let us know more about how our individual ways can support you. And if that's a time change or a topic or something that you want to hear from us, please let me know. Again, for the events, if you're missing them and you just seem to be coming across the recorded versions, when you see the invite to the event, or look under the event page on either the VIP or the main group, and you'll see these at least a day in advance. Interact with the event, say that you're going or you're interested at the very least, and then you'll continue to get notifications as to when they're happening and what they're about. So Mondays are questions and answers. Didn't get a whole lot of them today because you guys are all so smart and you know that these are good for you, and it's just a matter of which one you want to get. I'm going to say, of course, it's Cyber Monday. So huge deals. I thought that they couldn't get better, but there's some stuff I was snooping this morning. After I was looking all these up, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's on sale. That's on sale too. From massage guns to light therapy to vibration plates to whatever you might be looking for. Of course, it's Black Friday weekend. Up to 45% off on select items, free shipping. I think there's all kinds of deals happening, but today seems to be, there's 25% off site wide, but there's some additional items at 45% off. Some of these may be them. Like I say, by the time I did my notes this morning and the sale launched, I went, oh my goodness, I can't even. So some of the ones that I've mentioned today are probably cheaper than when I was looking at them this morning. Whether it's for yourself or someone in the house, give the gift of red light therapy, blue light therapy, infrared light therapy. There's a lot of choices out there. And keep in mind, like I say, with these therapies, you can combine them, but be consistent, use them regularly. And for chronic pain, you may find that you're going to be using them more often to get those symptoms underway. Thank you for dropping the link to the sale. Again, if you do have any questions, feel free to tag me now or later. You guys have an awesome Monday. I'm sure many of you are digesting. A little shake or a little red light therapy is going to help that metabolism, help the cells. Have a lazy Monday. I look forward to seeing you again next week. And don't work too hard. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you very much for joining me today, guys. Have a great rest of your week.